In the last 30 days, we booked 156 meetings through Twitter DMs. Now, if you look up Twitter for B2B outreach, there's probably not a bunch of stuff that comes up, but trust me, the shit works really, really well. Especially if you're a B2B SaaS founder, an agency owner, a coach, or a Web3 company, or one of these that targets Web3 companies. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Alex. I'm one of the co-founders here at Drippy, and over the last 2 years, we've helped almost 3,000 people with their Twitter DMs. And so what I will explain in this video is how you can book over 100 calls a month solely through Twitter outreach, which is by just copying what we're doing. As you can see here, last 30 days, 156 events created. These are all sales calls for our software, Drippy. And now you're probably not going to be booking 100 calls a month, but the premise stands that this is one of the most powerful ways to acquire clients right now, and one of the cheapest as well. Okay, so this is what we're going to be going over today. So first, we're going to talk about what to sell via Twitter, meaning what offers are working really well. Number two, we're going to talk about how to write scripts that will actually sell. Number three, how to find people to actually reach out to. Then we're going to get into how to set up accounts, account optimization, content, account creation, all that sort of good stuff. With that being said, let's dive straight into part one, which is what to sell via Twitter. So straight up, if your offer sucks, this will not work for you. And not only will this not work for you, but nothing else will work. So if you have a cold offer that's working already, highly recommend you take that offer and you plug it in here. But if you don't have anything that's working yet, then you really need to work on your offer. Now, you not only need a good offer, but it needs to be a good offer to sell to a cold audience, okay? So essentially, you're just looking for something that's easy to say yes to and that does not require proposing before going on the first date. Now, what do these look like? Number one, and what we've had the most success with, is ultra valuable lead magnets. Next up, we have setup offers, then we have zero risk core offers, and then combinations of the above. Now, we're going to get into what lead magnets are and how you can actually monetize them via Twitter outreach. Okay, so, all right, and before we get into lead magnets, if you want access to this specific document that has a bunch of swipe files, you can get access to it down below in the description so you can follow along. All right, so what are lead magnets? Now, lead magnets are offers. They're just not going to be your core offers, okay? Now, this isn't talked about enough nowadays, I feel, but every big person in the space is using this strategy, and I can almost guarantee that you probably opted into a couple lead magnets, maybe without even knowing it, okay? This is a quote by Alex that I really like. If you're not getting enough leads, it's usually that your lead magnets aren't good enough or attractive enough to your ideal audience. So what are lead magnets? They're a complete solution to a narrow problem, again by Alex Hormozi. And ideally, they should reveal the next set of problems that should be solved by another one of your offers. Now, I said a core offer here. It doesn't necessarily need to be your core offer. However, this is typically how it works, where you have an offer that works really well to cold traffic, and then you upsell / cross-sell into another offer that may be your core offering, okay? Now, what lead magnets work the best for cold DMs? So us at Drippy, we've ran free leads, which is what we're running right now. We've also done free scripts, which we might go back to, and we also have a free trial. So as of the time of recording this video, there is a free trial that might change in the future. So if you want access to Drippy 7-day free trial, click the link down below in the description so that you can get access to the free trial while it's still there. All right, so what lead magnets work the best for cold DMs? So these are the ones that I've had the most success with personally. So free leads is working really, really, really well, especially if you can hyper personalize the leads that you're actually giving out. If you're reaching out to people and letting them know like, hey, I have a database of 4 million, whatever the heck their ICP is, odds are, if it's a database with 4 million leads, it's probably been sent around. The leads are probably all burned. It's probably like super hard to actually open up the file because those huge files, you can't even open on like Google Sheets or something. So you have to run it through like a bunch of other stuff. However, if you make it very, very personalized, and I'll show examples of what we're doing that's working really well. If you can literally let them know like, hey, I have a list of 1,000, however many, 100 XYZ, meaning insert their ICP. Mind if I shoot them out? Like if you say something like that, then it'll work really well. But I'm guessing that if you hit up an audience that kind of knows how this stuff works and you're letting them know like, hey, I have a database of 4 million XYZ type of leads, it's probably not going to work as well, right? So you just want to make this super, super, super personalized. I think if you just hit them with like, hey, I have a database of 4 million kind of a very like entrepreneurs, it might not work as well. But if you hit them with a, hey, I have a list of 4 million online agency owners, I think, and you're reaching out to someone whose ICP is like specifically online agency owners, then I think that will work well. But for the most part, if the database is too big, then people just like will know that it's been passed around. Now, second one, and this is crossed out for a reason. So we did free scripts for a while. However, this took a bunch of bandwidth from our team team, and the result difference between free leads and free scripts was just like, it was just abysmal, right? It was just so small. Like you couldn't even measure the difference between free leads and free scripts. This took way longer to actually set up and send to people. And so now we're just going for free leads, right? Not to say we don't ever do free scripts, because there is a tactic that I like running, that's called Dream 100 Outreach. So for very specific kind of enterprise grade clients, we'll definitely do free scripts, we'll do content, we'll do a bunch of stuff, and we'll also include the free leads as well, right? So I guess it just kind of depends on the strategy that you're running and the people that you're actually reaching out to, okay? And then lastly, we have a free trial, which is kind of stacked on top of these other two, right? So our free trial right now, and this might change, so if you are looking to get started with Drippy, feel free to just click the link down below in the description, just go to drippy.ai, and you'll get a 7-day free trial with 250 messages completely on us. And so we stack these lead magnets, right? So first of all, we hit people and we tell them like, hey, here's a bunch of free leads. And then they're like, hey, and then we pretty much just ask them like, hey, do you need a tool that will send them out? Like, hey, here's this tool. You can send out 250 messages for free. And so it's really easy for them to kind of hop on the platform. And this just goes back to this point right here, which is that a lead magnet should reveal the next set of problems that should be solved by another one of your offers, right? And so we have a really good free trial to actually paid user conversion rate. And so that's why we're so comfortable going from free leads to free trial, because we know a bunch of the people that actually start the free trial will end up converting. Now you might be asking yourself, Alex, this sounds amazing, dude, but how do I actually come up with lead magnet ideas? Now there's a bunch of different ways that you can go about this. You could just ask Claude using your prompts similar to this. And again, you can get access to this document where you can just copy and paste this prompt directly into Claude, ChatGPT, Grok, whatever. By clicking the link down below in the description, it'll say access the document here, and then there's going to be a link. So you can do that, or you can also just think about the pain points and or the customer journey. Now, what does this mean? So for example, for us at drippy.ai, there's kind of three main things that our users need to do in order to see success with Drippy. Number one is they need to find leads. Number two is they need to set up an automation. And then number three, they need to reply to messages. Okay. So what are our lead magnets? Number one, it's, hey, here's 1,000 free leads with their Twitter handles that you can reach out to, right? So you could reach out to them manually, but that's going to take a ton of time. And so like, hey, here's a tool that you can use. There's a 7-day free trial. We'll give you a free onboarding call if you hop on, right? And so essentially we're doing these two for completely free, right? And then they need to reply to messages, but that's it. Like that's all they need to do. And we could essentially create an offer where we either like give people, or we sell appointment setting services, or maybe like an AI appointment setter that would honestly get a bunch of, we probably will end up doing that, because it's just kind of the next natural stage, right? And so people need leads, we give them leads, and then it's like, hey, okay, now I need to reach out to these guys. How do I do it? It's like, oh, hey, well, here's our offer, right? And so it's just super easy for people to say yes to the leads, and then they need the next thing, and then you give them the next thing, and then that's when they start paying, right? Now, here's another example. So I recently hopped on a call with the guy that was running a sales coaching offer, and I gave him this piece of advice. So I was like, hey, I'm running into this issue now or anyone that manages a sales team like hates, or pretty much everyone I know that runs a sales team hates reviewing calls, right? So I told him like, hey, if you're reaching out to like SaaS founders, right? SaaS founders that maybe aren't big enough to like have a sales manager yet because they don't have a huge sales team, it's just a couple sales guys. Like I would, like if you sent me this message, I would say yes to this. Like I would hop on this immediately, right? So the offer, the freebie is like, hey, reviewing sales calls and giving feedback, right? It's a huge pain point for anyone that needs to review sales calls. And so this is what I'm saying, either think about pain points and or the customer journey. So the Drippy example is just us thinking about the customer journey and what people need to do to achieve success through our platform so that they actually stay on. And this one is more of okay, let's think about what my ICP's pain points are, and then let's build an offer based off of that. Okay, so that's the sales coaching offer example. Now, what do these DMs actually look like? Okay, and again, you can get access to this document down below in the description, so you can copy and paste these messages, play around with them. So 1,000 free leads offer. This is like exactly what we're sending, and this is primarily the reason why we're booking over 100 sales calls a month. So it's like, hey, hello, hi, first name. I put together a list of 1,000, and then we're using Drippy to insert the prospect's ICP. Okay, so we're saying, hey, I put together a list of 1,000 doctors, lawyers, and accountants who might be interested in, and then we are asking Drippy to describe the product or service that the prospect is advertising on their site. So it's like, hey, I put together a list of 1,000 doctors, lawyers, and accountants who might be interested in your, and then insert whatever service, your video production services. Cool if I send it over at no cost, totally free, on the house, no strings attached. And this is Spintax, right? So it won't send all of them, obviously. It'll just send one of those. So just think about it. If you received one of these messages, so for example, for us, it would be like, hey, Alex, I put together a list of 1,000 agency owners, coaches, and SaaS founders that might be interested in automating their Twitter outreach. Can I send it over? It's like, fuck yeah, send it over, right? So it's super, super easy to say yes to. And then what's my next logical step? It's like, okay, now I have this list. How do I reach out to these guys? Either I'm going to have to do it manually, pass it on to someone on my team, or like, hey, if someone presents me with the offer of, hey, dude, do you want to like test out this platform for completely free where you can actually reach out to these guys with personalized messages in an automated way? I'd hop on that 24/7, right? And so that's why this offer works so well, because it just kind of walks people through the customer journey and it holds their hand, right? And so that's what you want to be thinking about whenever you're making lead magnets. Now, for the sales call review offer, something very similar. So it's like, hey, hello, hi, first name. I recently helped a similar business. And here, whenever you're writing scripts, and we will get into this, you want to make this as hyper specific as you can. Meaning, if you're reaching out to like, I don't know, say a hospital, right? If you're reaching out to someone that owns a hospital or like a health clinic, and you're telling them like, hey, I recently, or I guess this offer won't apply there, but the example stands. Like if you're reaching out to someone that is, I don't know, like a soccer coach or whatever, and then you're letting them know like, hey, I recently helped this video production agency or like this Web3 company take their close rate from X% to X% in 6 months by auditing their sales team's call. It's like, it just makes no sense. The perceived likelihood of achievement there, like for the soccer coach is like, it doesn't exist. Like it's really low, right? But I don't know, if you hit up this soccer coach and you're like, hey, I just helped this guy, this other soccer coach in this country from this club or like whatever, it just makes your perceived likelihood of achievement go through the roof. Okay. So we're saying, hey, I recently helped similar business take their close rate from X% to X% in a month by auditing their sales team's calls. Was wondering if you'd be interested in having me audit one of your guys' calls completely for free. I'll shoot over a full Loom video audit with clear actionable steps for you guys to actually see quick results. So this is like magic. If anyone hit, like if you're a sales coach and you want to make this offer, like run with this, because I think this will absolutely kill. And it's super easy for anyone to just go into, like we use Firefly. So I can just go into Fireflies, take a link, shoot it over to this guy, and then I'm going to get a Loom, right? Within hopefully the next couple minutes, hours. And so this is kind of what you want to look for. Okay. So key things to keep in mind, try to find ways to add AI personalization. Again, Drippy makes this very simple. You want to make it obvious that it's free and make it very, very, very valuable. Now I have a couple of script frameworks right here. Again, you can get access to this document down below in the description, so that you can kind of see some of our best performing scripts and get ideas for what kind of lead magnets you can run. Now, how do I actually make money from this? Because again, these are freebies, right? So there's a couple ways. Number one, you want to have clear calls to actions within your lead magnets. That's number one. Number two, you can build a funnel where they actually opt in before getting the lead magnet, meaning you get their email, name, and phone, and then you can either have setters call them up. You obviously enroll them in an email sequence, a text sequence, and then you also have them on a newsletter, right? So that they kind of keep getting familiarized with your brand, with whatever it is that you sell. They get value, and hopefully throughout kind of all your sequences, they end up converting through a soft call to action, maybe on your newsletter or something. And then another thing, and this is something a lot of people forget. I talked to a lot of people running DMs, and a bunch of people forget this, is that you want to keep the conversation going with qualifying questions to get people on calls, okay? Like you're not just going to send your freebie and then just kind of go silent, okay? You want to send the freebie and then keep asking qualifying questions that are really, and this is a hack just for like keeping any conversation going. You never want to end off on a, and this like applies to not only like DM stuff, but also like in real life. You just want to like ask questions that are easy to reply so that they can actually like keep the conversation going. Because if not, if you're just like super boring, it's like, hey, here it is. Like it's way easier to reply to a, hey, here is the insert lead magnet name, and then asking them a qualifying question, or just a question like, hey, I think point number 4 where I talked about XYZ will really resonate with you. Are you guys experiencing XYZ pain point at all, by the way? Something like that, to where it's like super easy, like it shows that you know what you're talking about, and it shows that you know them and their pain points. And so it just kind of makes it easier. It displays your expertise, and it makes it easier for them to continue the conversation, which is exactly what you want. Now, another thing that I get a lot when I talk about lead magnets is like, hey, won't this just attract tire kickers? Like I've had people hop on calls. They're like, hey, no, we don't want to run any lead magnets because in our experience, it'll just attract tire kickers, or it won't actually attract people that buy. Now, this can be true. However, it'll be the case if your lead magnets are fish bait instead of whale bait. So if you're trying to go after whales, so let's just give a quick example. Let's just say you're going after agency owners making more than 30K a month. Okay. If your lead magnet talks about the issues that an agency owner going from 0 their first 5K month are experiencing, it'll attract those types of people. But if your lead magnets talk to the audience of people experiencing issues scaling from 15 to 30, then you'll attract those types of people. So you just need to be really careful with what your messaging is and what type of lead magnet what type of lead magnet you're actually offering. Okay. And not only that, but I highly recommend that you add friction. So don't just book calls with anyone that replies. Okay. You need to add friction somewhere throughout your funnel. It can either be directly in the DM conversation. It could be further down your marketing funnel. It could be on the Calendly page, or it could be on your sales process. So there's really like two ways to look at this. Either you add a bunch of friction so that you're only talking to qualified people on calls through marketing, meaning you add a tight form that will only show the calendar link to people that are actually qualified, or on the Calendly itself, you will disqualify, like you'll just cancel calls with people that are under a certain revenue range or like whatever it is, or you can have either a setter team or your sales guys actually go through that kind of like friction process. My philosophy is more along the lines of the first option, which is just add friction to your marketing. Like you don't want your sales guys wasting time on people that just aren't qualified. Okay, that's just me. All right, so another type of offer that works really, really well through cold DMs and just kind of in general right now, given the state of the market, are one-time payment offers. And I'm not the only one saying this. I actually got this from Daniel Fazio, and it's been working extremely well. So people are sick and tired of expensive monthly retainers. People want to test you out first. So this is what I was talking about, where it needs to be offers that are good for cold traffic, not offers, which essentially is like you're not proposing to someone before taking them on a first date, right? People want to test you out first and not have to pay an expensive monthly retainer for 3, 6, or 12 months before they've even gotten a chance to kind of feel you out, right? And so this is, again, for cold traffic. If it's someone that's warm, if it's a referral, if it's someone coming from like your organic stuff, then you don't like, it's way easier to close those guys. But if we're talking cold, which was exactly what we're doing here, then your offer needs to have those characteristics in order for this to work as best as it can, right? And so obviously these one-time payment offers are not going to be your core offers, but this will kind of get you a pool of people that have already bought that you can then upsell to your core offers. And this is kind of where we start getting into the NRR territory and where we actually start seeing a bunch of profit. So for example, right, this is an offer that we have right now and that works really, really well for cold traffic. It's the Drippy done for you setup offer, where you get 10 plus verified Twitter accounts, where we optimize the accounts for you, we warm up the accounts for you, we build out the DM strategy for you, we write the scripts for you, we write your follow-up sequences, we give you the leads for your campaigns, we load all the accounts onto Drippy, and then we load everything else up, meaning scripts, we set up campaigns, we do the leads, all that sort of stuff into Drippy. We'll assign you a personal cold DM expert to help you with any issues, and you get weekly community coaching calls with me, and you get unlimited one-on-ones with our team. Now, this is all for a one-time fee of $1,500, and then all you need to do is pay for the subscription. Now, if you want this offer, there will be a link down below in the description to book a call. But this is working really well, right? Now, these types of setup offers, again, if you don't have case studies, then it will be harder to sell, obviously. And in that case, then you kind of want to start getting into the guarantee territory. Maybe you want to start tinkering with the price, but these work way better. Like you'll close a lot more people for $1,500 plus a subscription just to the software, than trying to sell someone on a $3,000 a month full agency retainer, right? And so if you're an agency, then I highly recommend you run some sort of setup offer or a one-time fee. And so here are some examples, okay? So if you're an email marketing agency, then what I've seen work really well is that you'll just set up flows for a one-time fee, meaning like, I don't know, if you're doing this for SaaS, it'll be like a cancellation flow, it'll be a welcome flow, the onboarding flow. If someone starts a free trial, whatever that flow is called, if someone starts the free trial but doesn't convert, whatever that flow is, like all these flows that every like SaaS business needs, but someone doesn't necessarily want to pay you for 3 months straight for you to build out these flows. A bunch of people would rather just pay you up front, and you're going to end up closing out more deals. And then once you've gotten them results with these emails, then you can kind of downsell them or cross-sell or upsell. I don't know, like, but it really depends on your price, to something like, I don't know, a daily, a weekly, or whatever it is, newsletter type of offer, where that obviously kind of is the recurring model there. Now, if you're a content agency, I don't know, let's just say you do short form content. just you can give someone like 20 scripts for a one-time price. Like, hey, we will edit 20 videos for you for a one-time fee. That sounds like a pretty cool deal. If we're doing shorts, if we're doing like long form, I don't know, an offer along the lines of like, hey, we will edit 6 of your videos for a one-time fee, whatever it is, right? Just again, the one-time fee, complete, like done for you and one-time fee, those two kind of buzzwords or phrases work really well right now. And then PR agency, I guess one that would work here is like, hey, we will write a couple articles for a one-time fee. A bunch of PR agencies will just try to get people straight into a retainer. What I've seen work better is like, hey, just this is the package. It's just a one-time fee. You don't pay us month after month, and you will get put out on these many kind of outlets or whatever it is. All right. Now, what do these DMs look like? And again, you can get access to this document down below in the description so you can copy and paste these messages. So, hey, hello, hi, first name. We recently helped instantly implement 8 different email flows, including XYZ, 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 resulting in whatever the result is in just time frame. And I say instantly because that would be a hyper specific case study to us if someone was sending me this message. And then we would say something along the lines of, would this be something interesting for Drippy? We don't charge monthly retainers, just a one-time fee, right? And so it's just kind of like you have a very strong offer. No one else is doing this. You have a hyper specific case study. And again, it's no monthly retainers. It's just a one-time fee. And so people are way more likely to hop on calls with this type of offer than if you want to just kind of go straight into marriage and have them be stuck with you for like 3 to 6 months, right? Now, these are my personal favorite, but there's another 2 types of offers that I go over in a video titled The Best Offers for Cold Twitter DMs in 2025. You can find that here on the Drippy channel as well. And I'll probably leave it linked down below in the description. All right, so in part 2, we're going to go over how to write scripts. So I gave you a couple examples above that work really well. If you want a full swipe file, once again, this is the same one that is up above in this document. You can get this whole document down below in the description. You'll see it'll say get access to the document here, and then there's going to be a link. Now, there isn't a specific framework that I follow for like every single time I write a script, but rather there are a couple of principles that I like to abide by. So these are the 5 principles that I really like and that you want to think through whenever you're writing new scripts. And this applies not only for Twitter, it also applies for email, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever it is that you're doing. Number 1 is personalization. However, I'd argue that it needs to not only be relevant, but also the goal should be to make it seem impossible to automate. Okay. And when we're talking about personalization, there's a bunch of different kind of philosophies, if you want to call it that, on like what to personalize with, how to personalize. And so my take on that is that you want it to be relevant and you want to make it seem that it's impossible to automate. Now, Drippy's really good at this, especially with Twitter, because people aren't super used to outreach on Twitter. So if you hit them with like, hey, I have like, if you insert their ICP and then you talk about their specific service, then they're going to be like, yo, like how the heck are these guys automating this? Now, if it's cold email, I feel like it's a little bit harder to do just because people like have been receiving cold emails for the last, I don't know, like 10 years or something. So everyone kind of knows the game there, but Twitter, it's really hard to do the same thing. So that's core principle number 1. Number 2 is value. And this goes hand in hand with the lead magnet approach, right? So the more value we provide, the better your campaigns will turn out to be. So if you're offering something that's actually free, then let people know that it's free and make it super obvious. Now, there is this specific type of outreach, which I already mentioned earlier on in this video, called Dream 100 outreach. Now, Dream 100 outreach in and of itself is essentially you spend a couple days making this like super sick project for someone that is like your Dream 100 client. However, now it's not necessarily like you can't really automate that unless, I don't know, you're like an AI wizard or have like a huge team. However, what you can do is you can essentially do the same thing, but instead of sending it right off the bat, you can use that as a lead magnet to provide value. So it's like, I don't know, for example, again, let's go back to the email marketing thing. And let's just say instead of having it be like a setup offer, you are running it as Dream 100 outreach and you're just giving away these flows for free, right? So you would hit someone up, you would hit someone like me up and be like, hey, Alex, I have this document where I redid all of your email sequences for new users. And then you like list out the sequences. And then you'd say, is this the best place to send it over? Now, obviously I'm going to say yes to that. And if I say yes and you don't have them ready yet because you're doing this in an automated way at scale, I say yes. And then that's when you actually start like building out those sequences. What's nice about this too too is that you can kind of pick and choose who you want to work with. So you can send out like this message to a bunch of people, and then you don't necessarily like, it's like you're not breaking any law by not replying to them if you don't want to work with them, right? Or you can just hit them with like a very nice like, hey, we're actually at capacity, I apologize, I will get this to you whenever we grow the team, or like whatever it is. But that is a really under utilized way to do Dream 100 outreach that I think that works really well too. Okay, so now principle number 3 is including a risk reversal or making it as risk-free as possible for the prospect. Okay, so again, you just want to be thinking about how can I make this a stupid obvious yes. The closer to get to that, the better your results will be. Social proof, this kind of goes with the risk reversal. The more social proof you have, the less risk is apparent to the prospect. And so you just want to make sure that your prospects know that you're not an internet scammer and that you're not going to run away with their cash. Now, social proof, you already know this. And then the last one is just to keep it short and sweet. Now, you got to remember that these people do not owe you anything. Like, you're not, like, don't feel entitled, right? And I feel like most people aren't, but sometimes there's like some new kids that feel entitled, like, hey, I put like all this together, I'm providing this much value, like people need to read this, people need to reply. Like, no one owes you anything. Like, no one's gonna read your paragraph, so just make it short and sweet. And then I always like to just think to myself, like I always ask myself, like, hey, if I were my before sending any messages, like, hey, if I were my ICP, would I personally reply to this? If the answer is no, then I don't send. I just go back to the drawing board and then come up with something new. All right, so you really want to put yourself in their shoes and think through what would make you reply, like you personally, if you were your ICP, obviously, reply to a cold DM. Now, a while back, I made a video, and depending on when you see this, these might still be available like on Drippy and on our YouTube. But I made a video going over 3 different types of messages that you can send out depending on who you are specifically and kind of like how much leverage you have based off of what you've done in the past. Okay, so number 1 is low leverage. All right, so essentially I divided it up into low leverage, medium leverage, and high leverage. Now, so low leverage is if you have 0 case studies, you really haven't worked with very many clients. Your medium leverage if you've already got a couple client results, and then your high leverage if you're like the fucking person in your niche. Now, if you're low leverage, I always recommend doing work for free. You'll get the most amount of replies, and you can start putting together client results so that you can then move on to kind of the medium leverage stuff, which we'll get into. But for low leverage, essentially what these messages might look like is, hey, been following you for a while. I noticed the sign up sequence. Oh, so again, this, I don't know what it is with the email marketing today, but all the examples I'm using are in email marketing. But hey, first name, been following you for a while. I noticed the sign up sequence for company name is, and then explaining what's missing. Like, hey, I noticed the email sign up or the sign up sequence for Drippy is missing a, I don't know, like an upsell email. So I put together a couple plug and play emails and SMS sequences for you guys to use. Mind if I send them over? So again, this is kind of like Dream 100 outreach, like automated Dream 100 outreach type of stuff. Just using the word plug and play and just providing a shit ton of value works really well. Now, and like I said, this message above would absolutely rip. Now, this is a ton of work, but like I can pretty much guarantee that this will print clients for you if you're good. Obviously, if like what you're providing to people is not good, then you're not gonna get clients from it. But like I said earlier, this is still something that we're doing like to this day to a very specific ICP that we do really well with. Now, once you get a couple clients from all the free stuff, you can move on to the medium leverage messages, which start to look something like this. So just kind of for context again, this is if you've maybe got your first couple case studies and now you feel like you can actually like, and now you've shown the market that you can get someone from point A, which is where they're at, to point B, which is where you can take them. And you've done that in the past, right? It's not just kind of you, it's not kind of like source, trust me, bro. It's kind of like, okay, I've done this in the past, like I can do this for you too. And these messages can look something like this. So, hey, first name, recently helped hyper specific case study, which if you are kind of going in like through the ladder, it should have been someone that you did the free work for. Take their free trial conversion rates from X% to X% in time frame by implementing XYZ email and SMS sequences. Is this something you guys would be into? We just charge a one-time fee, no expensive retainers. And so again, this would absolutely fucking destroy, like if you have the right case studies, right? So this would work really well because this oftentimes what I've seen for people just kind of doing stuff similar to what we're doing, it's like these are put together very kind of like very quickly. It's like no one actually wants to write these out and kind of like get everything set up and like a zap and the triggers and all that stuff. So I think this offer like isn't being like actually exploited as much as it should, especially if you run the like, hey, we charge a one-time fee, no expensive retainers, right? And this could be like, there's super easy upsells here because I don't know, say for example, you think every SaaS company should have 8 specific email flows and your one-time offer maybe just has like 5 of them, right? So it's like, hey, if you want more, then like here's the price for the other ones, or like it's maybe pay per sequence, or hey, if you also want like another SMS, like whatever it is, there's like a bunch of stuff you can do on top of that. And then you always have kind of the email newsletter type of stuff that you can kind of just do a recurring with. And like I said, this would absolutely fucking destroy. It has a couple of components. You got the hyper specific case study that increases the perceived likelihood of achievement and is in and of itself a little bit of implied personalization, right? Because if you're reaching out to someone and you're letting them know that you just helped someone that's really similar to them, unless it's just like pure luck, it means that you know like what type of company your prospect runs. And then it's also got the one-time fee component, which people love. We just charge a one-time fee, no expensive retainers. I'd probably do all done for you. I think this is kind of like all the buzzwords in one. I think this would work really well. The done for you stuff is kind of implied. This might be better for like ads or something. But you can add it. It's probably not going to hurt. All right. So the idea here is to get your foot through the door through these types of messages to then move people into a retainer deal, and then move these people onto a retainer deal so that you actually get MRR. But you only do that once you've actually gained their trust and have provided enough value. All right. So once you've done that for like a couple years, then you can get into the high leverage territory. Maybe if you're watching this, you're already in that. But here your messages kind of, you can kind of just become a little bit of a Chad. Okay. And so this is when you can and should only send out conversational messages, okay? So it's like, hey, first name, well, so we should work together, have time to chat this week. Like you don't need to show anything to anyone because you're the guy and people already know you. Like if Alex Ramosi sent you like, hey, yo, let's work together, right? You don't even need the bro. Like you'd answer and you'd hop on a call with him. Like he doesn't need to show you anything just because you know who he is. Like if Daniel Fazio sent you this message, like, yo, bro, let's work together. It's like, dude, you're hopping on a call with them. And so once you've got that amount of leverage, you really don't need to do much more than this. It's super quick, simple. It's quick, it's simple. You just want to leverage your high ground and collect a bunch of cash. All right, so now we can move on to part 3, which is essentially figuring out how we're going to find the people to actually reach out to, okay? So there's really a couple ways to do it. And so I'm going to go over my 2 favorites. My number 1 favorite, and this might be a little bit biased, is Drippy's integrated lead scraper, right? So again, it might be a bit biased, but it's honestly one of the quickest and easiest ways to find good leads on Twitter. And so here is really what you need. So, all right, so first you need to know where your target audience hangs out on Twitter. Essentially, you just need to figure out a couple people that your clients or your dream clients follow in common, okay? And honestly, I really like going after accounts that have under like 100K. I really don't like going after the bigger accounts just because like whenever you start trying to scrape someone that, I don't know, someone like Elon Musk that has like 200 million followers, it's like the lead quality really starts to dilute itself. And so that's just something that we've tested in the past and it doesn't yield the best results. And so I highly recommend that you stay away from those huge accounts, but rather that you find kind of those hidden gems, those smaller accounts that a couple of your clients follow in common, because odds are if a couple of your clients follow one specific account that has maybe like, I don't know, 5,000 to 10,000 followers, then there's other people like your clients that you can probably help that follow those same people, right? And so that's kind of the thought process there. And so once you've got these down, I typically will make a Google sheet with like 20 to 50 of them and just kind of put them down in one column. All right, and so once you've got your list of lead sources down, you want to get anywhere between like 20 to 50 accounts, depending on how many messages you actually want to send out and how many followers these accounts have. But once you have that list, and again, I typically just do it on a Google sheet. It's kind of just the easiest way to go about it. You can go back to it whenever you need to add more leads to any of your campaigns. And so once you have that, you want to go through a list of past, current, and or dream clients to try to find commonalities among their profiles. Now, what do I mean by this? So specifically, what keywords do these guys have in their bio? Are there any words that they have in common? Do they all have founder? Do they all have MRR? Do they all have, I don't know, e-com, like whatever it is? What keywords do these guys have in their bio? How many followers do they typically have? Is there a range that they're typically in? Or you can also do any of the opposites of any of these questions, right? So how many followers do the people that you don't want to reach out to typically have? Like, do they always need to have between 1,000 and 10,000 followers? Like if you hit someone up that has 50,000 followers, are they going to be a good fit, etc.? So these are all questions that you should be asking yourself, okay? How many people do they follow? Is there a specific kind of range of people that they typically follow? When was the last time they were were active on Twitter, how many posts they've made, like, I don't know, maybe they've been posting, like, do they post daily, multiple times a day, etc. And so these are all going to be very good filters that you can then add to your list. And so with that being said, let me walk you through a quick demo using the Drippy lead scraper. And again, you can get access to Drippy's free trial by clicking the link down below in the description, or just going to drippy.ai. 250 messages completely for free, or 7 days. All right, so now I am in Drippy. And so what you want to do is you want to navigate to the leads section over here on the left hand side, and you want to hit new lead source. Once you do that, you'll be prompted with a couple different options. For this specific scenario, we're going to go with lead scraper right here. Now we're going to be prompted with these next steps. So step number 1 is deciding where you want to pull leads from. Do you want to pull leads from a specific tweet, or do you want to pull leads from a specific account? So we just went through how to build a list of account sources, and so that's what we're going to be using here. So for this case, I'm just going to literally take myself and we're going to paste myself in here. Now you're going to see my account load up. You can even click on my little profile right there. It'll pop up. You can go to my website, all that sort of stuff, right? And now you can decide who you actually want to reach out to, meaning, do you want to reach out to the people that I follow, or do you want to reach out to my followers? All right. Typically, and I guess this really just depends, typically people do both. That works well. There are some very specific campaigns where we will just do the following, because this tends to be a higher quality list of leads. Okay. But if you're running something like we are for Drippy, then going after the followers is perfectly fine, or just doing both of them and you get the best of both worlds. So we're going to go ahead and hit add source. Now you can add as many sources as you'd like in here, as long as you have lead credits available. Okay. So you're going to see that these are going to start importing. Now we're going to go ahead and hit next, and our filters are going to pop up. So like I said, this is where these questions come into play. So what keywords do these guys have in their bio? How many followers do they typically have? How many people do they follow? When's the last time they were active on Twitter? How many posts have they made? All that sort of stuff. So the reason I made you answer that is because that will come in super clutch here. So number of followers, typically I like doing at least 100, but let's just say we know that our ICP typically has more than 1,000 followers. So we're going to do number following is greater than 1,000. You can also do between, so you can add a range if your ICP has kind of like a perfect range of followers. So you can do any of that, or you can do less than. So if you don't want to hit like the mega whales, you don't want to hit people with over 1 million followers, you can go ahead and do that. So there we go. Now we're only going to be reaching out to people that have more than 1,000 followers that either I follow or follow me. Then we can go into bio content. All right, so this is typically where I spend the majority of my time, in the bio contents. Okay, and so you'll get your bio contents with this by answering this question. So what keywords do these guys have in their bio? Okay, so for example, here we have co-founder. I would also add just founder. I would add CEO. I would add CMO. All right, so it really just depends on who your ICP is and who you actually want to reach out to within those companies. And so once you've got these words down, you can go ahead and hit apply. And what's really nice about Drippy as well is you can save these filters so that you don't have to like keep adding them every time you want to start a new campaign. So you can just go ahead and hit save, and these will be saved. You can go to save filters and you can start using these right here. All right, so once you've got your filters down, you can go ahead and hit next right here, and you'll be able to see a preview of your lead list. Okay, so you can also give it a name. All right, so once you've added all your filters, you can go ahead and hit next. And now you'll not only be able to see a summary of kind of what just happened, you'll be able to name your lead source, and you'll be able to look through some of the leads. Okay, so data sources, one data source, because we just added my account. Filters applied, so we applied 2 filters. Leads, 2.1 thousand. So 2.1 thousand people that follow me have like fit that criteria. Now we can give it a list. So we're gonna call it Alex account demo YouTube. And then you can also go through some of the leads right here. And as you can see here, all these guys fit the criteria. They have more than 1,000 followers, and they have one of the keywords. So for example, we have founder here. We've got founder here. We've got founder here. We've got founder right there. We've got CEO. We've got CEO. We've got founder. We've got founder. We've got founders. We've got CEO. So essentially that's just how the lead scraper works. So once you've gone through a couple of your leads, you can go ahead and hit save, and now your lead list is ready to be used. And that's it. Literally within 5 minutes, you can get this up and running, find your list of leads, and start an automation. All right, so now that you have leads, you can actually go ahead and start your automations. I will go through how to set up automations later on in this video, so stick around. But on to method number 2. This method is honestly pretty cool, and it involves using clay.com. We're not affiliated with Clay in any way, but they've they've recently added a couple integrations with Twitter or X now, and you should definitely check them out. And I'll probably make a video on some of those soon. So essentially what Clay allows you to do is it allows you to find someone's personal Twitter handles if you have any other sort of data about them. So if you're currently, so this will apply to you if you're currently running LinkedIn or cold email campaigns and you have all that data that you can export from wherever you have it, import onto Clay. You can essentially take all that data, you can pass it through a Clay workflow that I will leave right here within this document. Again, you can access this document down below in the description. So you can pass the data through the Clay workflow that is provided right here, and you can find maybe 20 to 25% of their personal Twitter handles. And so this really applies to you if you're currently running any sort of LinkedIn or cold email outreach campaigns. And so essentially how this works is you can take all that data that you already have, you can pass it through a Clay workflow that I will provide here shortly, and you can find around 25% of their personal Twitter handles. So I'll leave the workflow right here within this document. Like I said, you can access this document down below in the description. So let's actually dive right into the workflow. Once you have access to the document, you can just hit this, you can visit link. And so this is going to be a Clay template. Okay. So essentially how this works is I'm just going to go ahead and do create table using Clay. Now it's going to redirect me to log in. Now these guys do have a free trial, so you can just go ahead and use that. All right. So once you log into Clay, you'll be able to see the full workflow. And so essentially what this means is we just need 4 things. It can either be their full name, or you can have different columns for first name and last name. We need their LinkedIn link. So their personal LinkedIn link, their company name, and then their company website as well. And then if we have that, we can literally just hit run, and then it'll find everything else. So let's actually try this out with my name. All right. So for example, if I put my data in here, let's see what it comes up with. So we've got my full name, we've got my LinkedIn link, and then we've got company name, and then we've got company website. Right now it's running. So essentially right now it'll try to find my Twitter URL, then it'll profile match me, and then it'll give me the drippy formatted URL, which is, I mean, it found it pretty quickly here, which is pretty cool. Wow. Okay. There we go. It's found my LinkedIn. It'll profile match, and then it'll let you know like whether it's likely or not that it's actually the same person, meaning that the Twitter profile corresponds to the LinkedIn link. And so there we go. It says likely, and then I'm pretty sure we can ask it. So associated drippy LinkedIn profile features a picture with a summary stating he's a co-founder. So pretty much the same thing, right? So and it'll give you the reasoning as to why it's likely or unlikely. And so you can use this to kind of throw any type of data in here that you'd like. Honestly, as long as you have, like, you don't really need full name because it can just pull it from LinkedIn. But if you have LinkedIn, company name, and company website, you could realistically just get away with like LinkedIn. But the more data you give it, just the better your outputs will be. Then you can just run as much volume through this as you'd like. I highly recommend that if you are going to be using Clay for this, that you connect your OpenAI API key. It just ends up being like way cheaper. And so essentially what you can do once you have everything here, you can go to actions, you can go to export, we can download as a CSV, right? So right here, it's a super small CSV file, but we can go back into Drippy, we can do new lead source, we can do CSV import, and then we can just drag and drop stuff in here. You can give your lead source a name. Essentially all you need to do is you just need to let us know which one, like where the handle is, the drippy formatted handle, where that is. And then you can also add, so for example, if you wanted to use like, I don't know, if you wanted to use like the company name directly from the Clay table, then you can do that. You can just add those columns in here. Really straightforward. You can go ahead and hit save, and then you can run an automation based off of that. All right, so part 4 is how to set up account. Now you could very well just use your own account, but if you really want to get the best results possible, you'll like honestly just need more volume. Okay, now volume on Twitter goes kind of crazy. According to Twitter terms of service, right, and this is a screenshot from Twitter terms of service, you can send up to 500 messages per day per account. So if that's it, if that's all you want to send, then you can just connect your personal account and send 500 messages. That's perfect. However, if you're looking to send more than 500 messages per day, this is how we set up the system. Okay, so essentially just a super high level overview. You have your X accounts that you connect to a proxy that you then connect to some sort of either hide my account or go log in, like an anti-detect browser, where you can essentially connect a proxy and log into the proxy and then log into the account via the anti-detect browser. Then we need to optimize the accounts, right? Then we're going to verify the accounts. Then we're going to verify, meaning we're going to buy the blue check. Then we're going to connect the accounts to Drippy once they're all ready to go. Then we can set up automations and start sending messages. Then you can log into Drippy's Unibox to reply to all the messages. Then you start booking sales calls, and then you get paying clients. All right. Now, in order to set up accounts, this is really what you need to do. So we either buy or make the account. So if you already have accounts, or maybe you have a big team and you have all those accounts, then you can skip a bunch of this and you can go straight into actually buying the verifications, which tends to be the hardest part other than sourcing the accounts. Okay, so we're gonna buy or make accounts. All right, so if you're buying accounts, you want to make sure that they are both email and phone verified, in that whenever you're logging into them, you are connecting them to a proxy and you are only logging into them via an anti-detect browser like hide my account or go login. All right, now day one, we typically just log into the accounts and we really won't do much. Like we will just go in, interact, like a couple things, comment on some stuff, right? Just make them seem normal. Then day two is when we will actually start changing the profile picture, changing the name, and changing the username. Then we need to wait 3 days in order to verify, but during the waiting process, we will also go in and just, again, you want to warm these accounts up, just act like a normal human being. So 3 days after you change the profile picture, name, and username, you'll be able to actually verify the account, meaning you'll be able to buy the verification. Now, if you're just doing this for a couple accounts, then you don't really need to worry about getting a bunch of different cards. But if you're doing this for like 10 plus accounts, then I highly recommend that you use one card per every 2 accounts. Okay. Now the logistics of that can get a little bit tricky. There's a bunch of like online services you can use to get virtual cards, and those will work. Okay. So once you've waited 3 days, you've been warming up the accounts, now you'll be able to actually buy the verifications. So you'll buy the verification, then you need to wait 3 to 5 days for the verification to actually appear. Once the verification appears, that's when you can go back into the accounts and then change the cover photo, change the bio, essentially just brand the account to your business. You do not want to do that before you buy the verification, because we've tested this, so trust me. If you optimize the account to your business and then you buy verification, it ends up taking way longer than if you just optimize it to look like a normal human being. I'm talking like sunset cover photo, live, love, laugh type of bio. If you do that, you'll actually receive the blue check a lot quicker. And so that's really what you want to do if you want to optimize for speed. Okay. Now, once you have the blue check, then you can go back in, actually optimize. So change the cover photo, all that stuff, just to make them look like they're part of your business. And then you can launch with low volume. And by low volume, I mean 6 messages per hour per account. Now, we use a couple different providers because everyone always asks me like, hey, where do you guys get accounts? So if you have questions at any point in time, you can just email me and I'll let you know, because we use a bunch of different ones. Sometimes they come and go. So just shoot me an email, alex@drippy.ai, and just let me know that you're coming from this video and that you want to know what provider we're using, either for proxies, for accounts, or whatever it is. I'll let you know exactly which one we're using at that specific point in time. Or maybe we're testing a couple different ones, so I'll let you know kind of everything you need to know. All right, now you might be thinking like, okay, Alex, this is awesome, dude. What do these accounts need to look like? Okay, so this is what I personally focus on and our team focuses on whenever we are optimizing accounts. So number one, obviously we went through this. This is kind of the most important thing. If you don't have a blue check, then you really can't send messages. Okay, you need a blue check, and what I mean by blue check is it's this right here. So like you need the blue check. You literally cannot send messages if you don't have it. Next is the profile picture. I typically, and this is my profile right here, I typically just like to have it be like a picture of you smiling, okay? And honestly, you don't even need to be smiling. Like if you're not someone that smiles a ton, then it can't just be like, ideally you just want it to be your face so that people like and trust you. Okay, people buy from other people, and so people just need to see that it's an actual human being. We've tested with company accounts with the golden checks. Those do not work as well as humans do. So just make sure that even if you're using like AI generated profile pictures for all your alternate accounts, that they're just people's faces. Okay, that's essentially all you want. Now, so that's the profile picture. For the cover photo, so mine is super simple. It's literally just like a black background, and then I have the Drippy logo right there. So that's the cover photo. For the bio, ideally you just want to let people know what you do and make it be like super quick, right? So here I have co-founder at Drippy, and then documenting it at distribution. Then what is really important, I think probably some of the most overlooked stuff, people do it without kind of even knowing, but super valuable. So if you go to my profile, you'll see free value, and then you'll see a link to my YouTube. I'd way rather have a link to our YouTube than to our website. Our website is linked here already, but YouTube is just like such a good way to actually nurture people. And so if you send someone a message and then they see that you have a YouTube channel, they click on the YouTube channel and you have and you've been making videos about the specific topic that you're talking to them about in the DMs, and they can see that you have a bunch of testimonials and you have a bunch of case studies, and you've been posting this like authoritative content about the topic for the last 2, 3, 5 years and your videos look really good, and then they listen to your voice and they see your face and they do all that, like the odds of them actually converting go through the roof. So I highly recommend, if you haven't started on YouTube, then you really should. And you should definitely link it in your Twitter profile if you're going to be doing outreach. And then you can also link it on all your other profiles as well. So not only like your personal one, but you can also link it on all the other alternate accounts that you're going to be running. So that's when it comes down to links. And then for content, you really just want to be posting regularly. It doesn't have to be a bunch of content, as long as people just know that you're a real person. And for the alternate accounts, we typically just do like AI generated content, or we use AI to repurpose content. So for example, this YouTube video, I can probably chuck into AI and come up with like a ton of tweets that I can just kind of repurpose across all of our different accounts. And also, this is one of the best kept secrets, the pin post. So for whatever reason, people don't kind of use this enough, at least in my eyes. So for example, right here, this is a YouTube video we posted a while back actually, but it was one of our best case, or this was our best case study for a very long time, right? So these guys booked 161 sales calls and collected 128K in just 30 days. And obviously I made a case study video about it, and it's posted on YouTube. And so this is the MP4 file of that video that I uploaded directly onto Twitter, and I made it my pinned post, right? So whenever someone looks at my account, they not only see my face, they see that I'm verified, I see that I'm the co-founder of Drippy, they see that I'm documenting my journey, they can have a look through our YouTube channel, they see that I have a couple thousand followers, and this video automatically plays. So it's an auto-played video, and it's edited, and it's well edited. And so it just right off the bat, you just like get differentiated from the rest of the people that are actually sending DMs by just having a really good profile. Essentially, this just works as your landing page. And so I highly recommend that you have some sort of video that just auto plays, that's edited, that people can kind of just see that, like, people probably aren't going to watch it, right? But they're going to see that it's edited, they're going to see that it's there, they're going to see that it's a big case study, and they're way more likely to actually convert just because you've shown that you actually know what you're talking about. All right, so at this point, you know what offers work well for Twitter, you know how to write scripts that sell, you know how to find people to reach out to, and now you also know how to set up accounts. Now, the last thing that's left, and I actually forgot to put it here in the intro, is how to actually set up the automations, right? Like, how are we actually going to be reaching out to all these people? So I'm going to walk you through that right now with the example leads that we pasted. Okay, so again, you know how to find leads. You just go to leads, you go to new lead source, and then you can either use the lead scraper, which is the first version, or you can do a CSV import, which is what we did with the Clay version. So, and we are going to hit add new. Okay, so we're going to do add new. And then we're going to be prompted with all the different steps. So we're going to hit cold DM 2.0. You can also do auto DM to anyone that interacted with any of your tweets, or you can also do an auto DM to any new followers that you get. So we're going to go ahead and hit next. Now we can select the lead source, right? So I think for ours, I forget what we named it. So here we go, YouTube demo. We're going to go ahead and hit next. Now, this is really important. So essentially, the difference between the two different types of messages that you can send out is either you're going to use AI to enhance your message, or AI will just generate the whole message, right? So AI generator will generate the whole message for you. So if you want to do that, then by all means. But if you want to have a little bit more control, I typically run with script personalizer. So we're going to go ahead and hit next. And now we're going to be able to see, so ideally, if you're using AI, you always want to hit advanced. It does use more AI credits, but you can connect your OpenAI API key, and it makes it very cheap. For context, I typically will just do B2B businesses book more sales calls through Twitter DMs. There we go. Now we can actually get into the script. So I am going to go back into our document. I'm going to go right here. I'm actually just going to take this. I'm going to take this script that we made. I'm going to paste it in here. I'm actually going to delete that. I'm going to paste this in here. And then you just really want to be really careful that you are using the same, like if you're taking your scripts from like cold email or cold LinkedIn, that you're not using the variables from those other sources, because that will not end well. So you just want to use the Drippy variables, okay? And you can do that by literally just going in here and then just doing first name that way. So you can just click on the personalizations, and then that's how you're going to personalize. And then obviously, like, you wouldn't send this, like this wouldn't be a variable that Drippy would import. This would have to be one of your case studies, and then you do like in time frame also. But then once you do that, you can go into settings. I typically, if I'm using AI, I will typically have the AI creativity set to 1.3. I like split messages. Essentially what this will do is it will send, so if I have a couple spaces in here, these will actually be sent as two different messages. Now what this does is that it just makes it look a lot more natural, right? People are used to getting just blocks of text whenever it's something automated. So if we're adding personalization and it's actually two messages, it just ends up looking way better. Now if you're going to be using AI, then you want to give it as much power as possible. So not only are you going to select the advanced version of GPT, but then you also want to include the website context and then the tweet context as well. And once we have all that set up, you can go ahead and hit next, and we'll be prompted with the next section, which is actually inserting variants, which is our way of A/B testing. Okay, so you can go ahead and add a variance. You can generate ideas using AI, so it'll actually give you the variance, so you can go ahead and do that. But if you just want to send one message, that's also completely fine. You can't do that. So right there, we're going to go ahead and hit next. So if you want to A/B test, this is where you're going to do it. If you just want it to be the one message, then you can go ahead and just hit next. Now you can add as many follow-ups as you'd like. You can select the delay as well. However, you want to be really careful with follow-ups because as of right now, there are no variables with follow-ups. So you can't do hey first name, you can't do AI. That is coming very soon. However, at the time of recording this video, it is not out. So what we typically like to do, like for our 1,000 free leads offer, we will literally just say 1,000 free leads, 1,000 free leads, question mark. We tend to keep them very curiosity based. And that works really well. And we typically do 1 day later and then 2 days after that. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna go ahead and hit next. Now you can actually select how many messages you want to be sending out. And like I said, whenever it's a new account, I typically start them off at 6 messages per hour. You can add a delivery schedule, meaning if you only want to send messages from 9 to 9, Monday through Friday, you can do that. Or if you want to send kind of 24/7, then you can just turn that off and then it's gonna send 24/7, which is what we typically do. Now, in terms of advanced settings, these are really important. So skip previously contacted. This is key so that you're not double hitting people. I typically do auto like. I will use the do not contact list, which you can find in the settings. Prevent cross account duplicates is honestly like one of the most important things if you are running multiple accounts. So let's say you have 10 accounts and obviously within the lead list, there will be some duplicates. And so essentially what this will do is if there's an account that's already reached out to someone, you will not have another account that reaches out to the same person. So you'll only message people once. You'll never run into the issue of I have 10 accounts and these 10 accounts are reaching out to the same exact people and everyone's pissed. That will never happen if you turn this on. So for example, if you know that your specific ICP has their profile in English, you can go ahead and select, so you can do include unknown and then include languages, and then you can just do English. AI location check is really cool. So for example, if you only want to reach out to people that are in the US, so you can go ahead and do that here. So you can select USA. You can select as many countries as you'd like, and then you can either do include unknown or exclude unknown. Now the last one is the activity check, and so this goes back to the questions that I was talking about whenever you're figuring out who your ICP is or what they look like on Twitter. So if you can kind of get a feel for how active they are, you can set this up to where you're only reaching out to people that fit your criteria and that have been active on Twitter within the last certain amount of days. Okay, typically 30 days works well, but if you have specific data on your ICP, then you can kind of change this up however you see fit. Now we're gonna go ahead and hit next. Now we can give our automation a name, so we're gonna call it demo YouTube, and then you can select the account from which you are going to be sending, and that's it. You hit create and we are running. And so that is it. That is the step-by-step guide to building a Twitter sales machine. And if you need help with any of this, if you want us to build this out for you, we actually have a setup offer where we give you 10 plus verified accounts. We optimize your accounts. We warm them up. We build your DM strategy out. We'll write the scripts for you. We will write the follow-up sequences. We will give you the leads. We will load all the accounts onto Drippy. We will load everything to be ready. And then you simply need to hit the start button for your campaigns to begin. We'll also assign you a personal cold DM expert to help you with any issues. You get unlimited calls with our team. You get a weekly community coaching call with me directly, all that for a one-time fee plus your Drippy subscription, and you can book a call with our team using both the link in the description, and I'll also leave a link within this document. We have a bunch of case study videos that you can see directly on this YouTube channel, with our most recent one being Rodrigo from Heat Studios, where he talked to us about how he collected over $300,000 in cash for his video production agency in just 6 months using Drippy. So highly recommend you check it out. And if you find this video valuable, like, share it with someone in your network, share it with a friend that might need it, and that is pretty much it for today. I love you. Peace out.